What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to tell you, or better yet, show you what baits you guys need in your tackle box for the 2022 walleye spawn. If you're going to be fishing the Wolf River, Fox River, Wisconsin River, Mississippi River, you're going to want these baits because they just flat out catch fish every single year. And I'm just going to give you a couple extra tips about these different baits. So first, we're going to start with a jerkbait. As you can see here, I like more natural colors. I like the blues, your fire tigers and stuff like that. But I will go to brighter colors too, depending on conditions. So I got 3 different sizes here. Generally, you're not really going to throw this smaller one. This is a size 8, and it runs, hold that out there. This one will run that 4 to 6 feet. So, depending where you're fishing, I mean, you can throw it, but a lot of times it's kind of light and will get more swept away in the current. So you can throw that too, depending though if they're finicky. You can definitely, I wouldn't generally go below a size 8, but definitely, when the sun is out, you want something that has some shine. I don't know what you can see that throws off a lot of shine in there, a lot of reflective. And then next will be your, oops, this other one's gonna fall. So next will be your size 10. That runs 4 to 8 feet. Generally, your size 10 will have 2 trebles on it, bigger size, and these are suspending jerk baits too, so that means they float. I will throw these on if I'm going for a big walleye, like over into Pere or something like that. It's definitely going to be on like I think I have some right here. I do like a 12-pound fluorocarbon, a P line. You can use whatever, and you can use braid also, and then tie on a fluorocarbon leader, but 12-pound usually, because there's big walleyes over there. You don't really want to go below that. And you're fishing on the river too, you're hitting rocks. It just helps if you get tangled around something, just having that extra, whereas in a lake, you're going to fish 6 to 8 pound, I say. So another thing I was going to go over with the jerkbait, since it suspends, depending where you're fishing, if this gets caught in rocks and you just let a little slack into your line and don't really wedge it in there, 9 times out of 10 it's just going to float up a little, back out, and then you're going to continue to be able to go. And you can also fish as fast or slow. You can reel it steady, you can twitch it, you can pause. So it's a great bait for doing that too, compared to this other bait that I'll show you. But another tip about fishing a jerkbait is if you are in an area with rocks and getting snags, which you can do, which probably will solve your problem depending on where you're fishing, use something with a bigger bill, just like this. With that bigger bill, it's going to deflect a lot more, get stuck a lot less. It's going to dig that bottom, so you're going to have to fish it slower. So it depends, like I said, your conditions, but if you're wanting to run the bottom, this is going to run on the bottom. Say this is a rock, it's going to hit, pop up, and go over. Just like that. So my best advice would be, because you don't want to necessarily always run right on the bottom, but a lot of the times those walleyes do stick pretty close to the bottom, especially when they're swimming upriver. So if you're getting snags, you don't have to go too like this aggressive. This is for a 20-foot deep diver. This is, I believe, a walleye runner. But just go up to something jerkbait with a bigger bill, and that'll definitely help you from getting snagged up and stuck, losing baits, stuff like that. Give it a try. So now we'll move on to the next bait. Alright, so next up is going to be the rip and wrap. As you can see right here, it is commonly used for ice fishing and in open water, and it just catches walleyes. Walleyes love these. Honestly, I don't have, for ice fishing I use a size 3, and honestly I always have a rip and wrap tied on for ice fishing, especially for a walleye. They just straight out come up and just smoke them. So this is a size 5, and this bigger one is a size 6 here. You could also get a size 7 depending on how the current is. I talk about that a lot because honestly it depends a lot on the weight of bait you're going to use to make it run right, and then make sure it doesn't get caught in the current and drift down too far. And if it's too small a bait and gets carried away by the current, it'll stay too high and it won't get into the strike zone. So you want to adjust accordingly. But generally you're going to use a size 6. So those are the size difference there. These have a very loud rattle, tight wobble, and they're not floating. So if it gets caught in the rocks, it's definitely harder to get it out than for snag wise. But other than that, as soon as you get the consistency down of how fast you have to reel it to keep it in that sweet spot in the water column, definitely one of the best baits and easiest baits you can use and tie on. All different kinds of colors. You know, you got your chrome or shiny colors. You got the bright colors like Fire Tiger here. I got a bunch of other colors. You got UV colors for stained water, or even at night UV works really well. And they just straight up catch fish, honestly. This is something that it's almost always tied on my pole in the spring. On one of my poles is a rip and wrap. So check them out. Get them, because I know a lot of the times, at least around here, we don't have the biggest tackle stores here around central Wisconsin. Over where I fish, so they do have Cabela's, but around here, these sell out actually really fast, and it's annoying because then they don't get back in stock until it's too late. So possibly go pick some up if this is something you're thinking about using for some spring walleyes. And I can just about guarantee they're going to catch you fish. They catch fish, honestly, everywhere. And they catch all sizes of fish, too. They catch the smaller ones, they catch your slot limit fish, and they catch some big hogs. So don't sleep on the rip and wrap. Highly recommended bait. We'll move on to the next bait now. Alright, so the last two were hard baits. We're going to move over to soft baits. We're going to go to a plastic swim bait. This is, I don't like to go too huge in size. This is a 3.5 inch Sassy Sally from Bass Pro. I just really like this color, honestly. It's this blue with the shine. It just catches fish. It's just a great color. But you can use, your crazy colors too or whatnot. You can go and use like this Lunker Hunt. Super realistic, And there's a bunch of other ones that are very realistic looking too that, to me, it's not necessary really to go with the really realistic. And the only reason that you'd pick this over live bait is because this is going to last longer. It's not going to fall off in the current. Sometimes minnows rip off, so just keep some bait on your hook and easier to fish, honestly. So what we're going to go here, I'm going to show you two different ways to fish these. So the first is going to be your standard jig head. This is, I believe, a 1/4 ounce jig head. I like to use something with a twist lock. Helps just keep it on there and keeps everything sitting right. It makes it run better to me. Your bait's not wiggling around. It's going to stay where it needs to stay. So what you're looking at would be something like that. So as you can see, it's not weedless. It can get snagged on stuff, timber, whatnot. Generally not too much on rocks because the bottom is, or the head is going to hit. I should have screwed this on there, but the head's going to hit down so it doesn't get snagged up too bad. Just kind of like the other one, but where the line hook is on this one, a lot of times, if you feel it, you can just keep popping it over the rocks. So there's that. And then, pro tip, we're going to go with the finesse. We have some Great Lakes finesse here. Some Z-Man drop shot rig. I rigged one up just to show. So the reason why you're going to throw this bait, and you got to throw it in the right conditions too. You can't throw it where it's super rocky, but you can definitely hop this over quite a few rocks and not get snagged. So like I said, it depends where you're fishing, but this is going to be, once you throw it, it's a lot easier, honestly, almost, just because this bait's going to be in the strike zone all the time, whereas with the other baits, like that rip and wrap, you have to get a feel for it to reel it, for that bait to be in the strike zone, to have it so far off the bottom where them fish are actually at. With something like this, you can rig this, I'd say that's, 8 inches or so, maybe 10 inches down, and that's going to sit more level in the water. I would just nose hook this too, because it's always going to flow. It's, if you cast it, no matter what, it's going to flow, so that way it's going down current and you're getting a lot of action out of that tail. Them fish are coming up. This is nothing intrusive. It's not loud. They just see it there, they're swimming past it, and they're just gonna grab it because it's an easy meal. Yeah, keeping it in the strike zone is very important. And you cast it out there, your bait's gonna be on the bottom. It's always gonna be how far it needs to be until you get it reeled in. So that's very important. And you can put a bigger weight on this and work it a lot slower. You know, if that current is really flowing, sometimes it's hard to keep that bait out there where it needs to be. I have a small weight on here right now, but you could put up to like an ounce, ounce and a half, 2 ounce sinker on there if you had to. And you can just keep this bait and just keep there and tug it. And it's just going to keep working it. It's not going to spin like that, you know, because it's going to be in the water. So it's just going to be tugging on it more like that. You're going to have that tail and that action. This is ribbed so that way the current will give off that extra vibration. And it's just going to be a great bait. I'm going to catch some fish on it this year. I'm going to get it recorded. So those are my tips for you. If you want to catch some walleye this spring, in a month and a half, get some of these baits. They're definitely going to help you catch fish. I hope this helps you. If it does, share some pictures, comment down below, subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos. I hope you guys liked it. Thanks for watching.